Today, I want to talk a little bit about the sensationalism of spirits who are stuck and how hyping that up can cause people to lose track of what's really important, that a soul needs help. I was invited to come and speak at a hotel with an associate of mine about mediumship, spirituality, ghosts, as everyone loves to call them, and hauntings and all those fantastic pop culture words. And I thought it was a great opportunity. There was probably 60 people there. They had purchased tickets and they were dining as well. So we were to speak to them, during their meal. Now, this hotel had been marked as haunted. And I say marked, when I mean advertised, like ridiculously advertised that it was haunted. So, of course, you know me, I took the opportunity to go because, if it's a human zoo, like I like to say, then I'm going to do something about it and I'm going to try to make a difference and cross everyone over. Human zoo, meaning spirits are being held there with the intent to profit financially in ghost tours type thing. So I thought, if this is one of those situations, it'd be a great thing for me to come in, can speak a little bit to the group, and hopefully they'll enjoy a wonderful meal. And also I'll be able to help any spirits that are stuck. So we went to the hotel/restaurant and they were hyping that there's a little girl in the building. And it was that hype. It was that it was marketed everywhere. And I got in the building and I walked around and I looked and I was looking for the little girl, which, I know better than that. I know to always go in with a blank mind and no expectations, grounded, anchored in, clean slate type of thing. But I went in and I was looking for a little girl, couldn't find a little girl. Saw a male spirit come up. And he said, "Will you talk to my wife for me?" And I knew he was stuck because he was feeling like there was a desperation to him. And he wanted to, it was so important. He's like, you have to talk to her. You have to talk to her. And I could feel the desperation. When you feel that kind of an emotion, that's someone that's stuck. That's still a linear time emotion. To feel desperate or to feel like you're never going to get somewhere. That's a linear time feeling. So I knew he was stuck. I said, "I can absolutely help you. Who are you? Who's your wife?" And he said, "That's my wife." And he pointed over toward the owner of the restaurant and hotel. And I was like, "Okay, all right." So I walked up to her and I said, "Actually, I know we're looking for the little girl. I get it. But your husband is here and he has some things that he wants to say." And she was like, "Well, we're not focusing on that. We're not focusing on that. This is, we want you to talk about the little girl and all this type of stuff." And I, walked back over the other side of the room. And in my mind, I was connecting with the husband saying, "Okay, I see your issue now. Your wife doesn't want to listen to you." And he was like, "You got to get her to talk to me." And eventually I was able to get her to just acknowledge it. And once she acknowledged it, I said, he's going to be okay. He's going to be all right. And she just blew me off. It was like, whatever. Okay. So I worked with that gentleman to say, "Listen, everything's going to be a lot more clear and you're going to have easier access to your wife through more loving channels and more of a calm and peaceful way if you can cross over." And so I was able to talk him through the process and say, "Listen, you're feeling desperate. You're feeling like you're running out of time. This isn't the reality anymore. And if you cross over, it'll be all of you and you can reconnect with your wife, watch over her, take care of her, protect her." Because he felt like that type of a person, even though she just didn't even want to hear anything about him. So he crossed over. And again, like I've said in many episodes, he just sort of disappeared. And I checked in with my guide. I said, "Peter, did he cross over? Is it okay?" He said, "Yeah, he crossed over. It's fine." And I went through the building to just keep searching for this little girl, couldn't find it, searching for the little girl, couldn't find it. What I could find is all the discussion from all the living people about this little girl and this story. And this is the story that matches this building. And, it was a little dramatic. It was a little dramatic. And which is funny if you think about the topic of this episode, crossing someone over in the spiritual realms. But that human component comes in. And one thing I'd like to share in this episode is that I do see that quite often. I see the hype and the, sensationalizing of it. And in this situation, selling tickets to a meal and a show. And guess what I was? The show. Now, my close friends will tell you, I like to be behind the stage. I like to, lift up and support and love and teach the actors so they can go out on the stage and perform the play. I'm not the one that likes to be out in the front. So from me to you, if you are a medium or a psychic, well, you're one of the two. But if you're actively pursuing that, if you're working as a professional intuitive, doing clearings, doing readings, et cetera, if you're not a front of the stage kind of person, don't feel like you have to do that. I allowed many situations to pressure me into going up on stage, doing group readings, things like that, of which many weren't great because I was just way too nervous and I don't perform very well like that. Just know that that might not be what you have to do. So don't feel like you have to do it because everyone else does it. I had those feelings in the beginning when I started opening up my intuition. It was like, oh, well, now I should do group readings and now I should do stage readings. And I went through all of that. Looking back, none of those things really altered my course. I would still be sitting here today and I didn't really need them. Great learning lessons, but I didn't really need them. Now, I do know people who are amazing mediums and intuitives, and it is their calling to be an evidential medium, to do group readings, and they are incredible, but that's their calling, but it's not everyone's. So just because you open up intuitively doesn't mean you need to, do group readings. Just because you open up intuitively doesn't mean you have to do spiritual crossings. It's not that we have to do everything that we could do. It's that we need to center in, find where we're connected, find our purpose in these realms, why we're dancing and navigating through the molecules, and follow that. And that might be behind the stage, it might be on front. But for me, it's backstage all day. I love it. And I'll come up to the front of the stage if it's going to help. And if something that I'm going to share is going to help someone else. But know that the drama is out there. The sensationalism is out there, the excitement's there. And I tell you, I didn't walk into a building where a building owner or business owner was concerned for the well-being of a little girl that was stuck in spirit form. I walked into a building where the business owner was concerned that the tickets were sold out. So we lose track of our humanness sometimes in this sensationalism. It's fascinating information to hear stories of, spirits that are stuck or haunted situations, for lack of a better word. It is fascinating to hear these things, but the second that we lose the concept that there's a soul behind it, we kind of turn it into a little bit of a song and dance. And I've seen it happen many, many times. What I can say from my heart is I have not yet met an individual that did this kind of process of dehumanizing a situation on purpose. I've never met someone, that business owner wasn't like, oh, I totally recognize that this is a lost little girl and don't care. Nope. It just didn't connect. So marketing it was fine. Filling the seats was fine because those two things didn't connect. Now, moving forward, people say, well, Bo, should these companies stop doing this? Well, I think it's perfectly fine to have a dinner event where a professional medium comes in and talks about mediumship or something like that people can learn. I think it's great. Even group readings, evidential ones, non-evidential ones, all of these things are wonderful and beautiful. It's when we can approach these situations with what the true end goal should be, which is to help the little girl, which there wasn't even a little girl. So let me rephrase the true end goal of any spiritual activity that involves a spirit that is stuck in the in-between. That end goal is to help that spirit go home. So nothing wrong with a news story about spiritual activity in a certain building. Nothing wrong with being aware of the spiritual activity, sharing it with others and saying, oh, but in the end, do something about it. Set the intention that you're going to either yourself or find someone that can help you help this spirit go home. Because in the end, ghosts are people too.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.